if you're not a total fry. It's just what you do. You know?
Yes. Yeah. Why? It's kind of like asking why all the guys chew Copenhagen.
What do you know about two certified bangers? PhantasmaCast.
Welcome back to PhantasmaCast, where we watch our favorite movies 2 at a time, and you should too. I'm Jake.
I'm Derek.
And today's double feature is 1999's Drop Dead Gorgeous and 2000's Best in Show. But before we get on with the show, top of the show reminder is if you want to hear or listen to or watch latest episodes as they come out, you can subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, or catch us on Instagram and TikTok at 2 Certified Bangers or PhantasmaCast. On to the show. So, Drop Dead Gorgeous and Best in Show. I think probably the most obvious connection between these two movies is that they're both mockumentaries, right?
Yeah, and then for the real sickos, they're like, oh, late 90s, early 2000s, too. So just like similar time period, similar style, but I think like wildly different movies in terms of like where the comedy is directed at.
Yeah, like different in their tones and their approaches to the satirical elements that they're putting out there.
Exactly.
They're both criticisms, I think, of just like beauty pageants, right? Like one's for teen girls and then the other is for dogs.
Yeah, for adult sickos. Yeah. Just kidding. Nothing against like dog people, but this is a very specific kind of dog person. But yeah, they are aimed at a specific type of people, and usually the target of these jokes is not going to find them funny, but we're neither of those people, so we find them very funny.
Yeah. There was a time in my like teen years when we had like Dish, right? So
like Dish Network?
Dish Network.
Okay.
So we would have random fucking channels, and like I think it was like the Travel Channel or like the Learning Channel or something, but it was like the Eukanuba dog show.
Yeah.
Like was an annual thing, and I was like, I'm going to be a Eukanuba person. I like dogs. I'm going to watch dog shows.
You opted in. Like, Eukanuba.
Never made it because it is the most boring fucking shit. It's worse than golf, dude. Like,
yeah, I agree. I was, as soon as you said it, boring shit, I'm like, oh, golf.
Yeah,
golf.
Yeah, it's worse than that. It's worse because at least with golf, you can drink.
Yeah. And I like dogs. I don't even like golf. So that's low-hanging fruit for me.
Yeah.
Despite that, the dog shows themselves are pretty boring. They're pretty routine. They're for a certain type of person that would benefit from that. And I think that's what Best in Show leans into is like, who signs up for this in the first place? Like who goes out of their way, makes this like their personality?
Yeah. I think, it's more... it's more noticeable in Best in Show, but there's elements of it in Drop Dead Gorgeous. But like the idea of these pageants is like, it's almost that it's not even about the dogs or the teen girls. It's about the people pushing those parties to be on display,
Exactly. Yeah. I hate to use the word set dressing or phrase set dressing, but they kind of are. It's like an excuse to examine those people.
Yes.
Rather than the situation.
Yeah.
And the situation does get a few jabs in, but it's not the main focus.
Yeah. Yeah. The people behind the pageants are the targets here.
The lever pullers.
Which I think, these two movies do like a fantastic job at making fun of those people.
Yeah. I would say, I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I think Drop Dead Gorgeous is meaner.
Yeah.
Of the two.
Yeah.
It has that bite to it where Best in Show is more about the dynamics between the characters and finding the comedy in that and finding the empathy with them. And then Drop Dead Gorgeous has villains.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
You're rooting on their downfall.
Best in Show, like, this was the first time I kind of realized it watching it and really trying to like analyze it. But it's like kind of a sad movie. Like at the end, you're just like, okay, they had their like 15 minutes in the spotlight and then they have to go back to their fucking boring lives, which still revolve around these dogs.
Yeah.
And we'll get into more of that later. But, Drop Dead Gorgeous is a lot meaner. And I think I can launch into it now.
Yeah, take us into it. Because you introduced me to it, so it feels only fitting that you're going to introduce our audience.
Oh, you hadn't seen it?
No.
Until
I had never heard about it until you brought it in my worldview.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is hilarious. This is exactly my shit. And I have a little nuggets as to why, after I've done some research, I'm like, oh, this should have come across my desk much sooner.
Yeah. Drop Dead Gorgeous. The Sarah Rose American Teen Princess Pageant is a beauty contest to die for. And that's exactly what the contestants in Mount Rose, Minnesota are doing. Ever since the vivacious but vicious former beauty queen Gladys Lehman, played by Kirstie Alley, started pushing her charm-challenged daughter, Rebecca, to win at all costs, the competition has been dropping like flies. Between exploding tractors and deadly hunting accidents, it's a wonder the top challenger, poor Amber, Kirsten Dunst, has the courage to keep her tap shoes on. But after Amber's mother, played by Ellen Barkin, is injured in a suspicious trailer park beauty shop bombing. That's a hyphenate, that whole thing. Okay. Amber is determined to fight to the finish. And the battle between the good and the bad is about to get ugly. Experience plenty of mom, apple pie, and all-American mayhem, plus a hit-packed soundtrack in this breakthrough comedy that is, quote, clever, fearless, and loaded with wicked lines and touches. Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Drop Dead Gorgeous. I like how they called Denise Richards Charm Challenged.
Her whole character, almost every line that she has in the movie is geared to be put into like her like college application. You know what I mean?
Yeah. To win over some imaginary panel of judges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the first thing that I think needs to be said about this movie is that I absolutely goddamn love it. It is charming in like a disturbing way.
Yeah.
It's got like, it definitely has the sense of humor like the director like possesses. That shines through. It's utterly quotable.
Yeah. And I think that is due to also the writer, which the research I did, Lana Williams, she was a production assistant for like a few years, like the early years of The Simpsons. And I'm like, because some of these jokes would feel at home in a Simpsons gag. Like they're driving through the parking lot and Kirstie Alley's like, oh, there's no parking in the Mall of America. You think there would be a parking lot of America to match. Yeah. That's a Simpsons joke.
Well, The Simpsons, again, another work that, targets middle America, and kind of puts a mirror up to us and says, this is how ridiculous we are. You guys understand that, right?
Yeah.
One of the like funniest quotes I love about this movie, and that I think just really encapsulates the attitude of this movie, is they're playing a tape of a winner of the pageant, right? Some 20 years ago or something. And it's that woman who works for the St. Paul pork products.
Yes. Yeah.
She goes, but like, she's like doing a commercial for this pork products place while wearing like her sash. Like that's what they're choosing to like promote the hot dogs with.
The St. Paul pork products. Yeah, I love her.
My favorite quote is, in fact, I love St. Paul pork products so much. And then it like cuts to her like in a uniform. I work here now, and then someone hands her a fucking carcass that she's got to load onto like the conveyor belt.
And then that shot just lingers of her, like, yeah, can you believe it? I work here now.
So it's like the movie's telling you, like, you know, you can achieve this thing that you put on a pedestal, right? Like this is the height of your achievement. This beauty contest, this personality contest. But you're never getting out of this town.
Yeah.
You know,
they're like, best we can do is get on the assembly line to make some sausages.
Yeah. And then you know, Brittany Murphy, the documentary crew asks her, like, you know, why do you want to be in the pageant? She's like, you know,
I have this written down, by the way.
If you're not a total fry, it's just what you do. You know?
Yes. Yeah. Why? It's kind of like asking why all the guys choose Copenhagen.
Man, like, she's wonderful in this movie too.
Yeah. I wrote down that, like, Kirsten Dunst obviously does like an exceptional job as like our de facto main character.
Yeah.
At a certain point, but all of the contestants are just so charming in their own way. Even though, you know, in today's view, of course, like there's problems, they're problematic and stuff with it. That sounded way more demeaning than I meant, but yeah, they have like problematic views. Like they drop the R word for people with special needs.
Yeah.
Like a bunch, but that is also just so Midwestern. So like that is like in a way needed in this.
It's so Midwestern and so of its time.
Yeah.
You know,
but it lends that air of authenticity, and sometimes authenticity is not.
not clean.
Not clean. Not what our best face or like our best foot forward.
That's another thing that I really appreciate about this movie is that it is so authentic. It is so real. These are real people. Granted, you know, they may be kind of taken to an almost absurd level, but like,
Yeah.
Are they really? You know,
Not by much. You'd find that some people say things that you would think are only like absurd, cartoonish, like caricatures of people say. They really think that sometimes.
But to set the movie in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, right, the heart of like the American homeland, you're really saying like, yeah, look at these like quirky like Minnesotans, but like it's America too.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the authenticity comes from the fact that Lona Williams, the writer, she was actually a beauty pageant contestant herself in her teen years.
Yeah, true.
And she grew up in a small Midwest town. So, you know, to have a movie that is so pointed and draws so much from like her own experiences, you know, just really helps it be the satire that it is.
Yeah, it gives the good grain of truth that can be heightened a bit for ultimate comedic effect.
Yeah, yeah. But, you know, mixing that in with the director, Michael Patrick Jan, it is also mean in punk rock, and it's probably exactly what the kind of cynical 26-year-old, you know, behind the camera
He's only
wanted to bring.
26?
He was 26.
Wow. Okay.
And he cut his teeth in comedy working on a sketch show called The State. It was an MTV series.
Okay.
And the episodes that he did or the bits that he would direct, they were mockumentary type sketches. So he kind of took that and made a feature. But The State, you know, it has credits including Michael Ian Black, Michael Showalter, and David Wayne, who, you know, they would go on to be Stella, and Wet Hot American Summer, you know.
Yeah.
So that kind of tells you like how irreverent and you know, pointed, and like the again, like the characters in Wet Hot American Summer, they all feel real in their own regard, just turned up to fucking 11, you know?
Mm-hmm. Totally. And I do see how the style that he was honing in Drop Dead Gorgeous eventually went on to like back to TV again for Reno 911.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of episodes of those early seasons, and I shit you not, I was that kid who probably shouldn't have been watching it, but I taped the episodes as they aired. It just felt like, oh, I shouldn't be watching this, but I'm just, and it's definitely on past my bedtime.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna set a tape to record those and watch them the next day.
Dude, I loved Reno 911. I didn't understand it when I was a kid because I was like, are these real cops? It's like take the concept of cops and make it funny, which is something they reference in this movie. Are we on cops?
Are we on cops again?
But Thomas Lennon is the voice of the interviewer in this movie.
For sure, yeah.
And he also had writing credits on The State as well. So there was,
cool.
there was that like connection to it as well. But let's talk about the meanness for a little bit.
I would love to.
I think the first thing that we can talk about is Amber and Annette Adkins.
Amber
Atkins. Amber's the lower class go-getter with a dream. She's just got to put up with her trailer trash mom.
Yeah. She's so lovable right from the jump. My two favorite people competed in pageants. My mom and Diane Sawyer.
There's a funny part where Kirsten Dunst is giving like an interview in her bedroom, and then Annette comes in and she's like, "Can you go get me some smokes?" And she's like, "What's this?" "Oh, these guys are from LA and they're making a movie about the pageant." She just tells her, "Well, if they tell you to take your top off, make sure you get the money first."
Yeah. It's like almost not even like if, it's like when. It's like a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that just tells you like what kind of life Annette has had, and then apparently Amber's dad was ran off to the circus,
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm like, what did happen to him?
She's like, "What did mom always used to say?"
What's a carny? Always a carny.
And so those two are juxtaposed by like the villain characters. So Gladys and Becky Lehman. They're the upper class. Becky's the upper class go-getter, and then Gladys is like the kind of saintly socialite and ex-pageant queen, living out her glory days, putting her daughter up on the stage.
Yeah. And having to deal with her husband, I think also equally a villain, Lester.
He's just like, well, oh God, what's Alice and Janney's character's name?
Ooh, Loretta.
Loretta's like, "Oh, please, you're talking about the richest family in a small town. It's front page news when one of them takes a shit." So,
and they kind of just go like, "Oh, well, it is."
Yeah. I love that scene when they're doing a sequence where they're introducing all the judges, right?
Yeah.
And who are all just weird and off-putting. But then it comes to Lester, and he's kind of going through his store, and he's like, he's got that bravado, and he's like, he owns a furniture store, and he yells over at a customer, and he's like, "You don't Jew me down too much on that dinette set. I'll throw the hutch in for free." Yeah. And he turns the camera. "The thing is, hutch is included in the price."
What they don't know is, I can't tell if he's more like a Tim Heidecker character or like a Tim Robinson kind of guy. But yeah, what they don't know is,
and then he goes, "Smile, June." He pinches her ass, and then it puts her lower thirds down on the screen. So that was her judge introduction, was that she has to fucking like deal with this guy all day.
Yeah, and then she's the writer.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's her cameo. And then I think a very poignant image in this movie is Mary, who's last year's pageant winner.
Yeah.
Who currently is taking up residence in the anorexia ward
Yes.
of the hospital.
Yeah, which has to be one of the meaner jokes in the movie.
Yeah. That because like her hair, like they're brushing her hair and her hair is just falling out, and
Which is a real thing.
yeah. They we're in another sequence of the movie where they're kind of gearing up to start the pageant. It cuts to her and she's just kind of gasping her way through this. She's like, with 2 weeks until the pageant, I was practicing my talent, finishing my costume, brushing up on current events, and running 18 miles a day on about 400 calories. I was ready. And like, like the movie, like, I don't think that the joke is at her expense.
No.
It's telling us like, look what this like impossible pursuit of beauty like did to this young girl,
Yeah. And they're not like, oh my God, what have we done to her? They're like, well, just wheel her out. Literally, later on, in a wheelchair.
Oh, the don't cry out loud part. Oh my God. They put a wig on her. She just looks like she's a cancer patient.
And just lip syncing, but is still out of breath even while lip syncing and being pushed around in a wheelchair. Ooh.
The town's seemingly only claim to fame is Frida Hegstrom, Minnesota's oldest living Lutheran. Who is now dead. You have that scene where the mayor's like, I keep telling the Shiners to take down the goddamn Frida sign. The lazy sons of bitches.
Oh my God. The Shiners?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That one went on the radar.
You have the hyper nationalist theme of the pageant.
Yeah.
So it's the American Teen Princess pageant, but
the Sarah Rose Cosmetics
American
Teen Princess pageant.
The theme of this year's is proud to be an American.
Where does she come up with this?
It's like a gift from God or something. But the previous year's ones were Buy American, USA is A-OK, and then Gladys's favorite, I can.
I love how she's tickled by every single one of them.
Yeah. A great gag later. I can't remember if it is if it was the tractor girl's funeral or Becky's funeral, but as they're delivering the eulogy, the priest goes, and perhaps this was God's reminder to buy American.
Yeah. That's the second funeral, because the first gag, that's a great gag.
Yeah,
I love that. But buy American, even in
it's because she dies in the float that was made in Mexico.
Yes. Again, that's probably something people still believe to this day.
Yeah.
Well, if it wasn't American, then it was crap. Yeah. But now it's probably like, oh, cheap Chinese garbage or some crap like that, No, the first funeral with Tammy.
Yeah.
the Lutheran Sisters Gun Club.
Lutheran Sisterhood Gun Club.
Sisterhood Gun Club. Pretty proud of that one. Love that one. Her funeral, the gag in that was Gladys being like, oh, there's just no knowing God's plan, I gotta ask Bob if we can use the same light as we did last year. Hold on, watch watch the snacks, basically.
It's so performative, and then on the note of like Tammy, she's on a tractor and it goes over the hill and it just blows up. You have like these hapless cops like who couldn't care less, right?
One's even digging into Copenhagen, I think, in the background.
He's like, oh yeah, hell of a way to go there. After some thorough investigating, we determined the Curry girl must have been smoking while driving.
Which Amber's like, nah.
Yeah. You're
like, I knew Tammy. Like, I didn't know her that well, but I knew that she drove it because the vibrations comforted her.
Yeah, no, she only ever smoked after a good tractor drive.
She only smoked after a good tractor.
And then I think another element of this that is relevant, I think, to our current political climate. The pervert judge.
Yeah, John
Doe. There's a part where, and he's just like, he is smoking a cigarette like Matthew McConaughey in True Detective, just sucking it down, he needs that nicotine.
Yeah, but he's channeling Matthew McConaughey in Dazed and Confused.
Yeah. So the interviewer's like, so you've judged a lot of pageants over the years? And he goes, no way. Never judged a pageant before in my life. No way. Never been around young girls. I mean, even if I was, why would I want to be, I don't get off on that kind of thing. That's really why you're asking, right?
Yeah.
Somebody say something? He refers to them at all times as the young girls,
Yeah, especially when they're doing their dance routine.
Yeah.
Practice.
Yeah.
And he's across the street.
He's got his camera. Like a Super 8
behind
camera.
his back. For the when he's first called out on it, he's just got it behind his back. He's like, I'm just watching those young girls, ladies, when my friends and neighbors here. This?
Just keep it in my car. Just keep car accidents.
Like, you've got a camera.
Nobody's talking about you.
Nobody's talking about you.
Just always deflecting any potential being called out for being a creep.
Whereas here it's funny, but as you were alluding to earlier, in today's climate, it would just be like, turn that fucking thing off.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna record me? I'll sue you. I'll find out where you work. And it's just like, damn, dude. Jesus.
Well, just our president was a beauty pageant runner. And bragged about being backstage with underage girls. Which no one seems to want to call him out on, but whatever.
Yeah, you're back here too.
Man, imagine if Trump did that.
you're back here too.
No one's asking. No one's talking about you.
What you're doing.
But there's a really great segment just about the absurdity of beauty pageants and how just pointed this movie is. It's from Gia Tolentino's article she wrote. It's called Drop Dead Gorgeous, which is finally streaming, is possibly my favorite movie of all time. It's a New Yorker article. She says, the black comedy of Drop Dead Gorgeous is guided by a deranged value system that's particular to the world of teenage girls. Nearly every review of the movie compares it unfavorably to Smile, a beauty pageant satire from 1975, which was directed by Michael Ritchie. Smile deploys similar tropes, a creep shot storyline, a flub dance routine, a contestant performing uncomfortable ethnic shtick, but it does so with more subtlety and without appearing to dehumanize its characters. Which is kind of what you were talking about, how Best in Show doesn't dehumanize them.
Right.
If the two movies had to compete in a beauty pageant, of course the judges would favor the contestant that was softer, nicer, more empathetic, and less calculating, and radiant like the sun. But what Drop Dead Gorgeous understands so well is that being a teenage girl is, in fact, deranged and dehumanizing, and frequently unsubtle. It certainly felt that way at the turn of the century, when visible G-strings and virginity pledges were in vogue simultaneously, and young female pop stars were flagrantly doing exactly what is expected of contestants in a teen beauty pageant, performing desirability while projecting naivety.
Yeah, I mean, they nailed it.
Yeah.
It's just contradictions everywhere at all times. So to find the humor in that and it actually be funny is quite an accomplishment, because otherwise it's quite depressing to weigh.
It's a dark movie, when you really think about it. Roger Ebert gave the film 2 out of 4 stars, so he didn't totally hate it.
Dang.
But he actually he found the movie funny as a concept, and in his review he wrote a lot about how a screenplay can be funny on the page, but when it's like actually made, it can be something totally different.
Okay. I'd probably agree with him here with like the Will Sasso character. That's probably hilarious on the page,
but he said he was often disturbed by the reality of what's explored in the film, right? So like, for example, like on the page, Annette's hand being fused to the beer can is funny, but he just found himself grossed out by it. And then again, the ex-beauty pageant queen taking up residence in the anorexia's hospital ward. Like, he's like, that's an incredibly sad image.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to laugh at this? Do you want me to laugh at this? But, you know, this is a movie about teen girls. So, like, I think Gia Tolentino is a bit more qualified to comment on it than Roger Ebert, right? So, the fact that it is such a dark movie, it is such a mean movie, about such a dark and mean topic that is just kind of gussied up to look like something like it's just what you do, you know, like
it's just what you do. Yeah.
It's dark stuff. Like, it's absurd, really.
Yeah.
Like beauty pageants.
Where Ebert is kind of like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And then, I'm sorry, what's the author's name again?
Gia Tolentino.
She's like, finally.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, you know, that is proof on the page that, like, not all movies are for all people, you know?
Mm-hmm. And one of those people, actually, sorry to interrupt, but one of those people is not Pauline Kael. Since we're talking about Roger Ebert, yeah. She did not review Drop Dead Gorgeous.
I wonder what she would have said.
I'm curious.
One of the things that I loved about reading reviews about the movie is how often people discovered it on VHS.
Cool.
Which is how I discovered it. I don't think that we would have gone to see this movie in the theater, even if I were aware of it, you know, as a kid.
Probably would have been like advertised all weirdly to kind of turn you away from it.
To be more screwball.
Yeah.
You
Like,
know?
oh, can you believe what these girls are up to down in Wisconsin? Minnesota? Sorry.
We also lived an hour away from the nearest movie theater. So, like, you know, the theater was reserved for cinematic achievements like Deep Blue Sea. You know? But we have had similar childhoods in the fact that, like, we loved video stores, right?
Yeah.
And this is one that I think either my mom or my sister picked out. It had girls on the cover, so obviously I wasn't going to pick it out.
You're like, probably no explosions.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, there's a lot of explosions
There's
in this.
no
What the
sharks
heck?
in this movie.
You go, what the heck?
But, you know, it played comically enough for my 8 or 9 year old self to recognize it and go, this is funny. Like, the voices alone are really funny. And I also discovered that another of Lona Williams's films, though she took her name off of this other movie, was called Sugar and Spice. And it was about
Bank robbers?
Yes. High school cheerleaders who team up to rob a bank so that their teen pregnant like friend can have some money to, you know, start her family.
Okay. Probably one where Ebert would be like, is this funny?
Yeah. So, and again, you know, set in a small town and everything. So, I don't know, that kind of humor, and that kind of peek into the, world of small town America. I don't know. It appeals to me somehow.
Got advertised all the time to me on Comedy Central. That's the only reason I think I know.
Sugar and Spice
of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. It's funny. It's funny. But you know, Drop Dead Gorgeous was a box office bomb, believe it or not. The director says of the film's failure at the box office, instead of succeeding at being offbeat, which I think was his intention, it failed at being mainstream.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was too early, you know? We didn't have the benefit of having like Christopher Guest movies being like a staple, you know?
Yeah. It probably came out around the same time as Waiting for Guffman.
Yeah.
So they were like, why would I watch Drop Dead Gorgeous when I've got Waiting for Guffman?
When I've got something that makes me feel good, you know? Yeah. The harshest criticism I was able to find about the movie was from the San Francisco Examiner by Wesley Morris. He called it relentlessly defective and suggested that given the dearth of mainstream movies about the poor white underclass, it should be renamed Drop Dead Ghetto and hauled off to the Jerry Springer Hall of Shame.
That sounds like a ringing endorsement.
Well, it's also just kind of like the poor people in the movie bothered you so much.
Yeah.
I just think, Jan says it again. He says at the time that it came out, especially in the big city newspapers, it was not well reviewed. Older critics did not get it. Roger Ebert didn't get it.
Right.
It 100% flew right over the heads. The movie isn't for those people. It's a teen movie about beauty pageants, but it's a pretty punk rock movie. It's not for the Roger Eberts of the world.
Fair.
Yeah. It just kind of goes back to our broader conversation about just like, not all movies are for all people, right? And just because you don't identify with it or you don't like it doesn't mean something for someone else. You know?
Doesn't mean it needs to go in the Jerry Springer
Hall of Shame.
Ghetto. Jesus. Okay.
In Taylor Calamerton, I don't know if I'm reading her name correctly. Taylor Calamerton's review of the movie, Drop Dead Gorgeous, how an unstreamable cult classic made a spectacle of America. She says, any movie buff with an affinity for film history knows box office failure and harsh criticism is the pathway towards cult classic immortality. Reviews are not always indicative of audience consensus. Similar to the trajectory of other cult classics like Dazed and Confused. You dropped that earlier.
Hey.
Jennifer's Body, Drop Dead Gorgeous rose to prominence through a slow burn of discovery, a flame kept alive by its mostly female and queer audiences. Drop Dead Gorgeous places us into a darker, demented depiction of America that dares us to ask with a bloodstained smile, how many people in this country are willing to sacrifice to get what they want?
Nailed it again. Yeah.
It's, and you, when was the first time I showed this movie to you? It had to have been a pandemic movie, right?
Yeah. It was right after we blazed through Mission Impossibles. You're like, enough box office successes. Check out this bomb.
It was only available on DVD for the longest time, and then they put it out in the Warner Archive collection with 0 special features.
Yeah.
Criminally underappreciated film.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of buried, and that's unfortunate, right? Because it is a movie that did that thing really well for the first time, The mockumentary format has been around a while, and I want to have a little debate with you.
Sure.
I look at the term mockumentary, and I kind of consider it different from faux documentary.
Okay.
I could be wrong. The director himself calls Drop Dead Gorgeous a mockumentary. But I kind of think that Christopher Guest movies are more mockumentary in that they kind of make fun of the documentary format, whereas a faux documentary is, to me, a movie that acts like a documentary but is not a real one.
Interesting. Okay. And you're asking if I agree.
What are your thoughts?
My thoughts. Well, I'll tell you, Jake. The mockumentary, I think Drop Dead Gorgeous, I love it, kind of wants to have its cake and eat it too, by drawing attention to the camera and the people behind the camera. They get into hijinks. They're actually present on camera.
Yeah.
There's even a joke with when the cops crew shows up and they're like, "Oh, hey dudes, what's up?" They know each other. But the Best in Show crew is never mentioned. There's no off-camera questions that we ever see.
So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's flipped. Maybe Best in Show is a faux documentary.
I think so.
And Drop Dead Gorgeous is a mockumentary.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's definitely a more mocking quality to it all in Drop Dead Gorgeous, where they're trying to preserve hey, we're not going to interact with the subjects as much. But I think Drop Dead Gorgeous makes fun of that element of it with the Will Sasso character later on, when he's got his overalls.
Oh, he's stuck in the car
door. Yeah. And then the joke is that they put it on the text on screen. They'll be like, we're, due to ethics, we're not going to interact with the with the subjects.
It's also got a lot of non-diegetic music cues as well, and it's more intentionally edited. While Best in Show does, if you showed this movie to someone who has no sense of humor, right, they might think it was a real documentary.
Yeah, but then the more studied would be like, okay, well, they're not mic'd up. There's no way we would have gotten that. Like when Amber and her mom have that heart to heart after she's like, I want to quit the pageant. There's no way we would have heard them.
Yeah, there's a voyeuristic kind of, they're looking in.
Yeah, Allison Janney's like, go ahead, get in
there. Yeah, you're right. Drop Dead Gorgeous does call more attention to the fact that it is a documentary. The last bit I have on that is regarding the mockumentary format. Jan says it's a different kind of mockumentary than Christopher Guest's.
Oh.
The format of Chris Guest films is that they've all got these great improv actors and super funny people, especially with Spinal Tap. Part of the ethos of it is let's be loose enough that these people can be funny. Let's get out of the way. There's a mix of written dialogue, but there's so much improv going on. That's part of the fun of those movies. Drop Dead Gorgeous is not that mockumentary. There's improv in it, but it's not on camera. There are things in that we figured out on the way or in rehearsal. It's meticulously framed and very conscious as to where it goes back and forth from being a proscenium, perfect little frame, to a little more handheld. Those edits bump into each other very deliberately to create friction between two different styles.
Totally. Cutaway gags that would not totally be possible with a true documentary.
Yeah.
It's very intentional cutaway gags. Yeah, we found out she was smoking. And there's no way she was smoking. It was after.
Yeah. Yeah, the comedy is constructed, right? Whereas, I can see them on a Chris Guest movie just saying go and we'll see what we get, Yeah.
And then maybe if they shoot in sequence, they'll be like, oh, you said this in one of these takes. Let's just get at least a reference to that.
Yeah.
Or continue that.
Yeah.
Continue that
callback.
gag here.
Yeah.
Another example of a good Drop Dead Gorgeous, very meticulously planned joke is when Denise Richards is talking, when she's first introduced.
Yeah.
And she's like, am I on my mark? Blah. And introduces herself. And then we get the cutaway to her at the gun club being like, yeah, my mom gave me this 9mm when I was 13. And I'll always remember the note that came with it. And it was, Jesus loves winners. And then she's like,
that's why I always aim to win.
Yeah. and then shoots, and we get a very deliberate close up of the gun and then the whip pan to the target. And you see the target has 5 or so bullets right here, specifically right here
where
on
the
head.
Guy got shot.
Yeah. So we were watching it, and Mickey's like, do you think she shot her? She shot him? I was like, yeah, dude, the target has the bullets right in that exact spot. And we cut away again to her cleaning a rifle, being like, oh, really? Well, hunting's dangerous.
Hunting's dangerous.
It's a damn shame.
That's another thing. The movie, I hesitate to say is a whodunit, but there is a kind of murderous plot at play that doesn't it does follow through to the end, but a couple people do get got. The woman who she does sign language, Yeah. And they're like, well, the good thing is it made her deaf. So
yeah. So she's ecstatic.
She's thrilled. But yeah, that's Drop Dead Gorgeous. It's a really funny movie. It's sharp. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I'm so glad that it has this underground following of people who are, totally devoted to it. Allison Janney says that despite how great her career has gone, the thing she's recognized for the most in public is as Loretta in Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Yeah, rightly so. There was not a wrong note that she hits.
Yeah.
In her performance, it's perfect. If I was looking at those dailies, I'd be like, please don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
They're so good.
She says that at that time in her career, she wasn't used to ad-libbing. 'Cause she's very serious,
Yeah,
actress.
there are two different schools. Really, there is the give me a script, or I'll make it work.
But she said the one ad-lib she's the most proud of is towards the end of the movie when all of the beauty queens are puking and they have that kind of news segment about it, and she goes and she's like, she's there with that waiter that she was flirting with, and she leans in and she's like, "Hey, Annette, I got some."
Oh, yeah. I got some. I thought you were going to talk about the gag of when they're actually throwing up because she comes out of the hotel with that guy. You remember what she says?
What does she say?
She's like, do you think they hurt us? Like, they were banging on some level where it would make people sick. But yeah, Annette, I got some.
Yeah,
got some.
And it cuts back to Annette. She's like, but yeah, that's Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Yeah. I'll take us into Best in Show now, if you'll allow me such. Boom, there it is. So Best in Show is the funniest movie of 2000. That's it. No. Waiting for Guffman's Christopher Guest directs, and many of that film's stars, including Fred Willard as a loopy commentator, reunite for this hilarious look at dog show participants and the pooches who love them. Join the fun as Mayflower Kennel Club competitors, a fly fishing shop owner from Pine Nut, North Carolina, Guest, Shih Tzu doting partners, Michael McKean and John Michael Higgins, squabbling yuppies, Parker Posey and Michael Hitchcock, a trophy wife, Jennifer Coolidge, and her ace handler, Jane Lynch, and a married couple, Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, who dream up ditties about terriers, vie for the top prize.
I'm remembering their songs.
You can already hear it. Yeah. God loves a terrier. So that is who is in Best in Show. That's basically all this this back of the box really tells us. And at the end of the day, that really is the selling point. It's just watch these amazing improvisational actors do their thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of the comedy is born out of that improv nature and not so much directed at the dog show. There are jokes to be had.
Yeah.
But it is not so much like Drop Dead Gorgeous is like, hey, this whole thing we do of putting teen girls up on a pedestal and making them compete in this cutthroat competition just so one of them can maybe have a job at a pork factory later on.
Yeah.
It's kind of brutal, right? The dog show is just a vehicle.
It's the thing that brings all these really well-formed characters together.
Yeah. And yeah, to me, this is the pageant really takes a back seat to the characters because and I think it's really strong for that reason because the characters are so different. There are some similarities to be drawn, but I think if you wanted to really analyze it outside of it's just funny, there's a class division between most of the characters.
Yeah.
So Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara are kind of the lower class hopefuls who are putting everything on the line or really want it the most.
Yeah, their credit card gets declined and they
Yeah.
have to fucking stay in the broom closet.
Yeah, actually,
at the hotel.
since you mention it, I did want to bring up that scene particularly.
Okay.
As one of the key scenes that kind of emphasizes this empathetic viewpoint of the movie towards the characters and the situations they're in. So yeah, so their names are Jerry and Cookie Fleck.
Cookie Googleman?
Jerry Fleck, how are you? I've got 2 left feet, He's got those ridiculous teeth in there. He said it was impossible to eat with those things. But yeah, I want to highlight this scene because in the audio commentary track that I watched, I learned that it was actually a little bit different in the first cut that was screened for audiences.
Okay.
And Christopher Guest said the reaction to this scene specifically had to be changed, and he agrees with it. He's kind of like, I don't know why we had it that first way, but they were right.
How was it the first way?
It was more mean. It was actually a little more Drop Dead Gorgeous, like making fun of the characters. And the audiences they wouldn't accept it.
Yeah.
Because, let me just set the context for that scene, because there is great comedy there. And so Levy and O'Hara have arrived. They've driven up from Florida, and they arrive at
They drove 200 miles out of the way to see someone we saw in the past couple years.
We just barely met a couple years ago. We're going to see the Liberty Bell and where the cream cheese is made. Heck, I just want to see where the light cream cheese is made. Those kind of like, God, what are they, like banal, like little things that people say.
But that's how people are,
you know? It's funny. So like I'll find myself laughing when people say things like that in real life, and you'll get a look like, was what I said funny? It's like, I'm sorry. my brain may be poisoned a little bit.
You just are a Christopher Guest character.
You are just a character. But they arrive at the hotel front desk, and Ed Begley Jr. is the hotel manager there. And he greets them warmly, and he's like, "Hey, just a run of the mill question. How was the drive?" And Eugene Levy's like, "Oh, just a super drive. Put a few clicks on the old odometer there. Let me put it that way. Like, you can put it a different way. Just mile went up. Good weather for most of it. A little cloudy coming up through West Virginia. Then it stayed overcast through Virginia." But once we get into Pennsylvania, it's still overcast.
He answers the question too thoroughly. He's got nothing more interesting to say.
Could have just been good, but that's not a good joke. A good joke is just, I'm going to tell this little story that goes nowhere. And that is a funny like follow up to a deleted scene. I'm getting a little in the weeds here, sorry, but there's a deleted scene with Catherine O'Hara when they first introduced these characters. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm so lucky, to find someone like you. I could have gone for a man who was richer, better looking, dressed better, told stories that ended."
Yeah.
Like, that's so mean. So I'm glad they cut that, because I like their friction really is that she just kind of slept around a bit in her younger days. The movie flirts so closely with maybe she doesn't really love him, but like you want to believe that she does. Yeah.
And I think despite how many men they run into that she's fucked, Right.
Yeah. But I think this scene does show that they do love each other.
Yeah.
Because this is embarrassing. This is like a moment where their credit card gets declined. Ed Begley Jr. is like, "Sorry, it's declined.
Yeah.
What else can we do?" And then they're like, what should we should call the credit card company, right? Yeah. Okay. It calls them. Eugene Levy's on the phone. You sent 2 notices. He like looks at her. Yeah. You're like, she does all the finances. They sent 2 notices, honey. And she's like, "Yeah, well, I get the 2 notices."
Yeah.
Sorry, there's nothing we can do.
I love that whole exchange, because I feel like I have witnessed my mom do that exact thing of like knowing she didn't pay the fucking credit card bill, but like pretending, that like everything's all good, and like it's good to me. Why isn't it good for you?
Yeah, like I know the system because I game it.
Yeah.
And then there's Ed Begley Jr. has like the compassion to be like, "Okay, well let's get another form of payment. Do you have like traveler's checks?" And then Eugene Levy's like, "Yes. Did you pack it?" "No."
Or no, I think Eugene Levy's like, do you take
travel checks?
And he's like, "Yes, we do." He's like, "Oh, I don't have any."
Yeah. And then finally, but like during all that, they're never like snapping at each other. They're never at each other's throats.
Yeah.
Being like, oh, you dumb idiot, you didn't bring the traveler's checks, or something like more cliche like that.
Yeah.
They are genuinely trying to figure it out together, and they know each other's like little habits of like, oh, she handles the finances. Second notice? Okay. Fine. Traveler's checks? I didn't bring them because I'm a forgetful like doofus, more or less.
They're not like the other couple, the Parker Posey couple,
right?
Who are just at each other's fucking throats.
Yeah. But they are so up their own ass that we want them to fight each other. But the thing with this credit card declining scene is it went on past Egg Begley Jr. being like, you know what? Let me work something out for you. Before that, there was a point where Eugene Levy was begging like on his hands and knees, they said, to be like, oh, please, like we drove up, you won't like realize what we sacrificed. We drove up from Florida, blah, blah, blah. Can you at least get us a room for the dog?
Yeah.
And we can like stay in the RV. And then he eventually goes, okay, well, I'll give you this. And it's the janitor's closet. People thought that was just so mean.
Yeah.
And just removing that little tail end of that scene that kind of went on for a little too long at that point makes Egg Begley Jr. way more sympathetic of being like, okay, I know what situation you're in, but I've got something.
Yeah.
And it ties into him showing off the janitor's closet earlier.
Yeah.
So that actually is a joke that lands and is not mean. Like a Drop Dead Gorgeous joke would be.
Yeah, you don't want to see the poor guy taken to the point where he's like begging, you know?
Yeah. We know they're hapless. We don't want to see him be like pathetic.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah. And then it like plays out in like a way that makes you kind of feel good at the end because Ed Begley Jr.'s he's the unflappable, you know, like hotel concierge. He's gonna make it happen, you know, no matter what.
Yeah, he's seen stuff.
Yeah,
they roasted a goat in here. that rock show. I guess they forgot that we had a toilet in the room. So that is one of the key scenes. And I think it's due to choices like that in the edit that make Best in Show overall a much like nicer satire, or at least not like dark humor. It is just like situationally funny. Like the very beginning of the movie is the two yuppies, Parker Posey and Michael Hitchcock, being like, hey, we don't know what's wrong with her, but she's having an ill effect on our relationship.
Yeah.
We don't know what the movie's about. If you just turned it on, you would not know. You would think maybe this is like their daughter or like a coworker or a neighbor. And then it's, okay, well, she's in the room with us now. Would you like to say anything to her? Let me pan over. And it's a dog also on a therapy couch. That's funny.
Yeah.
That is really funny. Just like, she doesn't even care. Look at her. She's just laying about.
It's these two people who are so incompatible. They would rather blame their relationship troubles on the fucking dog than you know, acknowledge that like maybe the only similarity between you is that you both shop out of catalogs isn't the thing that's going to keep you together, you know?
Or they met at Starbucks across the street from one another. Yeah. Okay, so then that's also like a commentary on the different classes, right? So then Parker Posey and Michael Hitchcock are wealthy. They don't need anything from the dog show. They think they're using this as an excuse to avoid their relationship troubles.
Yeah, 100%.
Project the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
And then we have the other characters like Michael McKean and Michael John Higgins. Is that what his name was? John Michael Higgins. I swapped those up. Sorry. As like the central like gay couple in this. And I don't think really any of the jokes are at the expense of like, ooh, they're gay. They are in a loving relationship.
Yeah. They're sassy gays, but they're not made fun of for being gay.
No. There is a deleted scene, by the way, though, of, you know, when they're at the dog show, they have the name tags on them. And John Michael Higgins has, "Hi, I'm Mary."
Yeah.
He's very proud of that.
Yeah.
So he's going up trying to like poke people about it. And he's like, "So what's your name?" And he's like, "I saw you in the bathroom with what's his face over there. What's the story with that?" You know? And he's like, "Oh, Marv? He's like, no, it's Mary. He wants to like get the joke in. And Michael McKean comes up. He's like, he's kidding. His name is Scott. Like, he's like, don't fall for him. Like, don't encourage him kind of thing. And there's a joke in there, which had me really laughing was, okay, so what's your name again? And the guy's like, oh, I'm Jack. And like, oh, and who's the gentleman that you were in the bathroom with? Like, like talking to? His name's also Jack. Like, oh, 2 Jacks. And like, we're 2 queens. We beat you. We win. And after Jack walks away, Michael McKean actually kind of gets up and he's like, don't do that. Stop that. Someone is going to hit you. Yeah. But I love them too. They bring such Michael McKean brings like a warmth to it, to that character of like the older gay man who just like lucked out and has like a partner who's younger than him, but is still like, is not an idiot, but likes to play silly, goofy. Yeah. So I think they're having a blast. So they are there they are at this dog show or going to this dog show just to it's something to do together. If they do win, like, wow, it's something we can do. If not, no skin off our nose kind of thing. And then we got probably my favorite character, and it just happens to be the director, Christopher Guest, as Harlan Pepper with his bloodhound. He's like, he's just a little pup, so he's not classically trained. He's a hunting dog, but he got that nose on him, as the bloodhounds do. And he's got his own. He's got such an interior life, which could have been like a joke of like, oh, this dumb hick trying to participate in the elite dog show. But he's got an interesting life as like a fish shop owner. He does ventriloquism. He's got interests, but then sometimes they devolve into Eugene Levy puts it as absolutely meaningless and ridiculous like tirades. Yeah. And his favorite scene after listening to the audio commentary is probably my favorite scene, when Harlan Pepper is naming nuts in the RV. He says, I love you, but it's absolutely meaningless and ridiculous and has no merit whatsoever. I say that with love. And for context, the scene is everyone's starting to head off towards the show, and Harlan Pepper packs up his bloodhound. They're in an RV, and he's just talking to the camera. He says, I used to be able to name every nut there was, and it used to drive my mother crazy because she used to say, Harlan Pepper, if you don't stop naming nuts.
Stop naming nuts.
And the joke was that we lived in Pine Nut. And I think that's what put it in my mind at one point. So she would hear me in the other room and she'd start yelling. I'd say, peanut, hazelnut, cashew nut, macadamia nut. That was the one that would send her into going crazy. She'd say, would you stop naming nuts? And Hubert used to make that's the bloodhound. And Hubert used to make the sound. He couldn't talk, but he'd go, roar, roar, and that sounded like macadamia nut. And that's where I lose it. Because without skipping a beat, he's got a perfect North Carolina accent. And he's like, and Hubert, he go, roar, roar, and that sounded like macadamia. He just slips right out and into it. Like really, really good performance there of just making that shit up on the spot about nuts.
That's, I think like the most fun part about just watching this is, they're not like pointed jokes, No, they're just setting the camera up and saying go,
Yeah, they are broad as possible.
Yeah, and like you almost feel like you're on set with them, and you're just like, how far is he gonna take this?
Yeah. That a lot of the shots just aren't ruined because the crew is laughing.
Yeah,
is amazing to me. Kind of like do you know the story about people laughing on the set of Young Frankenstein?
No.
That they were laughing so hard that they had to like gag crew members from getting picked up on the mics. So they were just ruining takes from laughing so hard. I love that little behind the scenes for that. But overall, Best in Show it really just tracks these disparate characters in such a broad yet funny and as it goes on, more specific way, through the lens of this dog show, whose outcome doesn't matter for most of these people. But then, as you alluded to earlier, after the dog show is said and done, and our heroes, Jerry and Cookie Fleck, win, we get a flash forward to like 1 year later, a little like denouement of like where we find them at now.
Yeah.
And not much has changed for some people. And sometimes they're like their material conditions have changed, but they are the same weirdos.
Yeah. So like the yuppie couple, for example, like they have like gotten rid of their dog. Yeah. They've got a new dog.
We are so happy.
Yeah, that they're put. She doesn't get upset when we have sex now. So our sex life is great.
They're like, she likes it.
Yeah.
And the dog's just humping the therapist's leg.
Eugene Levy and Cookie, they're cutting a track.
Yeah.
You know, in the recording booth. And what's did you write down the lyrics because they're just so awful?
Oh no, they are so awful. I didn't. But I do know what you're talking about, because you would think they'd be going into the booth to record God Loves a Terrier.
Yeah.
Because that was actually like kind of a good song, or at least like had tone and pitch. They are just all over the map.
Yeah.
Just kind of saying nonsense.
Eugene Levy is flat as fuck.
Yeah. And and then the joke is that the guy mixing the song knows Cookie. Like, do you recognize this? I don't have no underwear.
Bulge.
Yeah. That's the first and last time I had sex on a roller coaster. And then Jane Lynch and Jennifer Coolidge, characters we didn't really talk about, but now's the moment to talk about them. Where they end up is they are a couple now together. Yeah. That was like a big like reveal during the dog show, is that they are together. And now they run the world's premier lesbian dog owner magazine, and it's just called Bitch.
Jennifer Coolidge's character in this movie is a little confounding to me because I don't know where she's going with it. You know?
Yeah.
She just is kind of clueless. But then I feel like just like a piece of direction she was given is just like, just look like the most uncomfortable fish out of water, like person here, you know? So she's always got like a thing she's chewing on. She's just like, yes, you know,
you have somewhere to be, but you don't really know where that is either.
Yeah. She's like the trophy wife of this like oil magnate or something he's essentially a living ghost at this point. Yeah. And I guess he's since died and she's inherited his millions, and now Jane Lynch is like her new partner.
Yeah. In the after the sense. Yeah. Because like in the current like timeline of the movie, they're introduced, Jennifer Coolidge is introduced, and she's like, I'm married to, you know, this ancient ass old man. Yeah. So she's on the right side of frame and he's on the left side of frame. And in the audio commentary, Christopher Guest chimes in. He goes, when we first see that shot of them, he goes, Jennifer Coolidge on the right. And that's his joke. He doesn't say anything more after that. And that is the dry type of humor that I really love.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the overall vibe of the audio commentary, by the way.
Yeah.
Is insights into like the improv and like how great everyone did, or some like little struggles that they had here and there, or some rearrangements of the scenes. But they are not nearly as like funny or jokey as you would think that Christopher Guest and Eugene Levy would be, because it's both of them two-handing this commentary. And they both wrote the movie. They both wrote Waiting for Guffman. They would go on to do A Mighty Wind, which I actually think, I don't know if I like it more than Best in Show. I think I like it just as much.
I think I had a better time with A Mighty Wind than Best in Show, but I've seen Best in Show the most out of any Michael or Christopher Guest movie.
Yeah. Isn't that funny how that works out?
Yeah. And then have you seen For Your Consideration?
No. But I want to. I'm curious about it because people have such strong opinions about it.
Strong how?
Strong negative.
I mean, I think it's a fine movie.
Okay.
It's about all of these people in Hollywood, or basic. I think it's about Hollywood, but like it centers on all these actors who think that they're up for an Oscar, and
That's funny.
none of them get it.
Yeah.
But like they're all kind of like campaigning to get the Oscar.
They're all in the same movie?
They're all in this. Well, yeah. And the movie's called Home for Purim, which is like a Jewish holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's, and then Christopher Guest plays a director in that movie, and like he doesn't know what's going on. Hold on, I'm trying to get who are the two judge or MCs.
Oh, we mentioned him, Fred Willard.
Okay, so my favorite character in this movie is Fred Willard as the like MC of this dog show, and he knows nothing about dog shows.
Yeah. Yeah. The audio commentary, Christopher Guest says, know nothing about dogs.
Yes.
That is your direction, is to know absolutely nothing. Yeah. Do not look into it.
It's just so fun. Like anything he said, like it has nothing to do with. And then he's got the other MC.
I found him. Jim Piddock.
Jim Piddock. Just like has to tolerate him the whole time. You know?
Yeah. His directive was be very, very knowledgeable.
Yes. Yes. There's almost like the original MC like called out sick or something, and they just got this
He's the
fucking
understudy.
guy.
And no, yeah, Fred Willard is so funny, and he was only there for a day and a half.
Oh wow.
To shoot his things, and probably knocked it out of the park every single like first take, no reshoots kind of thing. Not to say that Jim Piddock didn't, because like Guest says, the only thing that makes that work is really the straight man.
Yeah.
Of not being so annoyed that you're just like rolling your eyes or like doing the same reactions to his absurdities.
Yeah.
Is being able to take that ball and run with it.
Yeah,
in a
he's
believable
trying
way.
to make what Fred Willard is saying work, but he recognizes that it's dumb.
Where he's like, ain't that the type of dog that looks like it could have the Sherlock Holmes hat and pipe? Just imagine that. Or how much you bench press?
They're both in for your consideration.
Oh, cool.
Piddock plays the cinematographer on the movie.
Okay.
And then Fred Willard plays, it's so funny, he plays like a host of like an E-News type show.
Oh,
you
nice.
know?
Okay.
But but they gave him the hairstyle of like a 22-year-old.
Yeah,
So it's
okay.
like this like comb over kind of thing that whips up.
Does it have like a weird stripe in it or
Yeah,
some kind of
yeah,
dye
yeah.
job? Of course it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he plays that wonderfully too. In the sense that Drop Dead Gorgeous is this kind of pointed commentary takedown of beauty pageants, what would you say is Best in Show's, take on that, on Americana?
Okay. I like that you use the word Americana, because I definitely had that in my notes and somehow didn't bring it up. But I'm so glad you did, because Drop Dead Gorgeous is that what we typically think of when we think of Americana is like Midwestern, Mount Rushmore,
Red, white, and blue.
Statue of Liberty, those kind of like obvious symbols of Americanisms. But then Best in Show is kind of the harder to categorize America that is still in love with these elaborate pageantries in a sense, but then like the more grown up version of it, because these are like full on adults, trying to reckon with their current situation and improve it somehow. And they think that winning a competition still, like something that is like for teens and kids to like kind of like get a sense of accomplishment, they still feel like that's going to, I don't know, turn their life around, save their marriage, kind of thing.
And I think like Best in Show is a much more like diverse, cross section of America, whereas like the Drop Dead Gorgeous focuses in on this like Midwest small town, right? And it's making fun of that, but also making fun of America in general,
right?
Or Americana in general, brouhaha. But then Best in Show is like, okay, where Drop Dead Gorgeous was amping the absurdity up,
Yeah.
What Best in Show does really well is it puts a microscope on just like the banality of Americans, and their kind of simple aspirations,
There's simple aspirations. They're like petty little gripes that they have. Like even Michael McKean and John Michael Higgins' character like have a gripe with Jane Lynch as the handler, and we don't really know why. We're like, what's the deal with
is that not just like the gay man lesbian kind of like feud that you see a lot?
No, because then they're watching that the performance go on or like the showing of the dog, right? And then they see Jane Lynch and Jennifer Coolidge kiss, and they go, "Oh,
yeah,
really?" But they're like,
that moment is great. They're just like, some new information has come to light.
yeah, they're kind of like, I take back everything I said.
Yeah,
go on. There's no like textual like reason for that in the actual movie proper, but there is a deleted scene where I'm glad they cut it again because it felt way meaner than it needed to be. Was John Michael Higgins goes on like a rant about how he actually used to handle that dog, Rhapsody in White.
Oh, okay.
And then he got like ousted and then replaced by her. So he does have like a grudge against her.
Yeah.
Which I feel like from a plot position, that makes sense. But as like an audience member, I'm like, I don't really need that. I kind of want to figure out why they hate each other instead of being spoon-fed that.
Yeah, yeah. The movie does not make an attempt to create any like true animosity between the characters.
No.
It just wants us to again look at that banality and go like, isn't it hilarious how fucking boring these people's lives are?
Yeah. Kind of what are we doing here? Why do I agree with the guy who's like, hey, let's get a little Sherlock Holmes hat on those guys? I think it's like a general sense of malaise or dissatisfaction with your current lot in life, which does have a broad appeal and will like always have a broad appeal, I think. So even if you are like, you see nothing in these characters of your real life or people you can pick up on that element in each relationship and have a good time dissecting what exactly is making them tick or making them yap at each other. And laugh at them maybe at first, but start to want the best for them in the end. Mm-hmm. So then when we cut forward to a year later, we go, that makes sense. Good for them. I'm happy for them.
And not that Drop Dead Gorgeous doesn't end that way, because the last shot of the movie is Amber Atkins finally becomes an anchor on a show. And the last shot, it zooms in on her, and Michael Patrick Jan said that they designed the logo of that news program to have a star in it so that they could frame it right behind her, kind of like a halo.
That's cool.
So, as mean as it is a movie about how, she kind of overcame and got what she got her dream, in the end.
That is a far cry from like, I now work here at the sausage factory.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I didn't realize that. Okay, and that about does it for our discussion of Drop Dead Gorgeous and Best in Show, two mockumentary-style comedies from the late 90s, early 2000s that, are framed with these, like, pageants and these weird, like, rituals that us Americans are caught up in. and it finds comedy in in one movie like a very pointed, like darker way, and then in another movie in a softer, more empathetic but still hilarious sort of way. So if any of those sound like a good idea, and if you enjoyed our discussion, go check those out. But if you haven't subscribed yet, now is still a good time. And thank you all for listening to PhantasmaCast, and we'll see you at the next showing. Bye now.